So you learn how to plug in your pedals straight into the interface to get the best analog sound. But now your effects sound like this? Well, there's an easy fix for that, and you're in the right place to find out how. So hello everybody and welcome to a new video and welcome to my channel where we talk about everything music from death metal to Queen and everything in between. On today's video I'll show you how to take your pedals from sounding like this to something like this. Alright, so before I show you how to do it, let me explain it to you so that you know and understand why this is happening. For this example, I am going to use this pedal right here, which is the Hook Reverb by Keeley. I am just going to keep it simple for this example. I am going to use the spring reverb, but it applies to any reverb or any delay that you may use. Alright, so this is what's happening to your signal. What you have now is you have a guitar signal going into this pedal, and from this pedal you're actually going into an amplifier, which can be an actual amplifier. This applies to actual physical amplifiers or plug-in amplifiers. So what is happening is that this is modifying the guitar signal before it enters the amplifier. So you have a clean guitar signal, a dry guitar signal, then reverb is added to that signal, and that is going into the amplifier where it gets distorted. So what's being distorted is the actual dry signal of the guitar plus the reverberation from the pedal. So that creates this noise right here. See, the amplifier is actually distorting the echo on the pedal. So what you want to do is you want to have this guy after the distortion, after the amplifier. You can do that two ways. On an actual amplifier, you would actually plug into the effects loop of the amplifier. So you would have to go from the guitar to the input of the amplifier, and then from the effects loop, which can actually be found on the back of some amplifiers, most of them anyway, you would go from send to the input of this guy, and then from the output of this guy back into the return of the effects loop. So now we're adding the reverb or the delay or any other effect you want to the distorted guitar, and that's what we want. Alright, so now Pat, I actually want to record what I have on my plugin on my computer using my interface. So how do I do that? Very simple. So just think about it using the same logic. So now instead of going from your guitar to the input of this guy and then from the output of this guy to the input on your interface, you would actually need to have an extra output and an extra input available. So this is going to be one of the instances in which having more than one input and more than two outputs is going to come in handy. Alright, so let's do this. Let's try it out. Let's go to Logic and let me show you how to do it. Okay, so here we are on Logic. Let's plug in the guitar straight into the interface, and let's see what it sounds like. For this example, I am going to use the ML Sound Lab flagship amplifier. Boom. Alright, let's make sure there's nothing engaged on the pedal board, and I'm just going to add the noise gate just in case, because I mean, it tends to be a little bit noisy. Let's grab a guitar, let's plug it in.
12 seconds later.
Alright, so this is the guitar straight into the amplifier with the noise gate on. This is what it sounds like. Alright, pretty good sounding guitar, right? Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this guy straight into the input, and this is what it's going to sound like now. Okay, so now I have my guitar going straight into the input, and this is going straight into the input 1 on the interface. Now the one thing I don't like about this pedal is the fact that it doesn't run on a 9-volt battery, so I have to plug it into the wall, which can be a little bit of a pain for recording videos like these, but just bear with me, we'll make it work. Okay, so here we go. Check out the settings on this. This is what the guitar sounds like without the pedal engaged. And now this is what it sounds like with the pedal on. Yeah, that's no bueno. So see, that's what's happening there. The guitar signal is being modified by the pedal before it hits the actual interface and before it hits the amplifier. And that's why we get this effect that then gets distorted. Okay, so now for us to do this the right way, we're going to need an extra cable. So this is what we need to do now. We need to go from the guitar to the interface, straight into input 1, just like we did in the beginning. Okay, so this is my input 1 cable. See, it's tapping there. It also shows on my interface when I tap it. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, there you go. Now what we need to do is we need to go out of one of the outputs on the interface into the input of this. This guy here is my output. It's actually coming out of output number 3 out of my interface. My interface has 8 outputs, but if you have only 2 outputs, a left and a right, you can come out of either left or right and then save the other one for monitoring yourself. Alright, so now from the output of the interface, output 3, we go into input of the pedal. Input of the pedal. And now from the output of the pedal, we want to go into a free input on the interface. This guy right here, since it's the same cable, I actually just added this to it so that I could, tell which one was which. This is input number 5. Why am I choosing input 5? I chose input number 5 because of the fact that my interface has 4 inputs with preamps, and I don't want to add any more gain into this signal. So I'm just using number 5, which has no preamp. It's just a line level input. Now, if you don't have that option and you only have the 2 inputs and they both have preamps on them, all you have to do is just, adjust the gain accordingly. I'm just not going to deal with that. I'm just going straight into number 5 because I do have the option. Okay, so this is input 5 now. Bam. So what's happening now is the guitar signal is going straight into the interface. Now it's going to go out of the interface straight into the input on the pedal and then out of the output of the pedal back into the interface. Now we need to route that out in Logic. So let me show you how to do that. Alright, so now that we have everything plugged in and ready to go, we need to route Logic so that it knows what the hell we're trying to do. We're going to need 2 tracks for this. Our first track is just going to be the guitar going into the interface and into the amplifier. So, input 1, amplifier. I'm just going to use the same amp for this example, so flagship. I'm just going to get that noise gate engaged just in case and so that it's the same as the other example, and this is what it sounds like. See, we've got a live guitar. So now what we need to do is we need to tell Logic that we actually want that signal to be routed out to output 3. So we go down here where it says stereo out, and this may vary from DAW to DAW, but it's basically the same thing. Audio works the same way on every DAW. And we go to mono because it is a mono pedal and output 3. Okay, so now the guitar, instead of coming out of the speakers, is going to come out of output 3. So if I turn the guitar on, nothing is coming out of the speakers. Okay, so now we need to get to the speakers. How do we do that? We've actually just gone from the guitar to the interface, the amplifier that's built into the plugin, and then out into the pedal. Now we need to go out from the pedal and back into the interface. If you remember, we have that plugged into input 5. So that's what we want on our second track. Okay, so now we have another track engaged, and this is going to have input 5 as opposed to input 1. So now we've actually routed back into the interface with the same signal, and that should be live. See? You can see it on the monitor here. You can see it right there. It is coming in. So now it should go from that to the stereo output. So let's hear it. Hear that? It's looped. Okay, so now we have the guitar signal going out of the guitar into the interface through the amplifier plugin and out of output 3 into the pedal input jack, out of the pedal input jack and into input 5 on the interface. So essentially we have a guitar signal that's going into the interface, out to the pedal, back into the interface and out to the speakers. So we have a loop completed, and now we should actually get some sound out of this. So now that this is complete, we should get some sound out of the speakers, and it sounds like this. Alright, so now let's turn on the pedal and let's see if it worked. That's some sweet sounding reverb. Alright, so that's it. That's all you need to do. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please drop me a like if you did. Drop me a comment in the comment section down below and let me know if it was helpful at all. Let me know if it worked out for you. Let me know if you've got any other tips or any other questions, for a different video. Of course, don't forget to subscribe to this channel like a man if you haven't yet. And if you enjoy the content and you want to help support the channel big time, please consider becoming a patron to the channel. A little goes a long way and we surely do appreciate it. Anyway, my friends, I will see you guys next time. Pat out, metal on, dudes.